All right, I want to welcome everybody. It is Wednesday night, so that means Conversations with Cougars is here. I want to thank everybody. Wish you again Happy New Year. Hope everybody's doing well, safe, and big day today, inauguration day, mark of a new administration and just change and all kind of good stuff. And I have got what we have now determined maybe the second or third most involved in Northview football games. You guys knew him back in the day as Squirrel or Squirrel Dog. We got Austin Enfinger with us tonight. And Austin, it was great chatting with you the last several minutes off screen or off before we went live. So thank you for making some time tonight. I'm really looking forward to our chat this evening.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to get to relive some history and talk about some great memories and all the good stuff that we got to be a part of. It's been a dream.
That's absolutely right. And I will tell you, whenever I do these promos, I can always tell by the amount of comments and fun things and likes and all of that over the next several days leading up to Wednesday night is kind of indicative about how involved my next guest is or has been with the program. And holy smokes, Austin, you broke all kind of records, my friend. All kind of great comments. And I got to share with you, we got Hunter Parrish, Coach Josh Parrish, Sammy Floyd, Sean McCorkle. So many great Cougars coaches and players have already rolled in for tonight. So thank you guys for spending some time with Austin and me. Now, Austin, before we really get started into all of this, what years, I want you to take us from your age and the years when you first got involved as a water boy with the program all the way through not just graduation, but then being a coach and a manager as well. So take us through, what are those time periods that cover?
Well, I started out as the water boy or ball boy at the time. In 2004, I was in the fourth grade and went on and rocked on till and just never left till we were 25 years old and working and married and still trying to coach and help and just do whatever we could to support Northview High School because it just from that time frame you can't help but develop a love for that place and a passion, and it was a special place to be.
All right, 2004, fourth grade. What school are you in?
Believe it or not, I'm on the other side of the tracks at Hidden Lake Elementary School, which replaced Southside Elementary School at the time, around the same time frame.
And back in fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, how much Northview shirts and hats and shorts and things did you have? And how often were you wearing them to school?
Coach Griffin gave my dad a jersey for me to wear to the games back then. And I think I wore it to school. That first game, I wore it to school every day of the week. But, man, I've got totes full in my closets full of Northview paraphernalia. We got it. Anything from helmets, jerseys, we got a little bit of all of it.
Well, when we finish tonight, I'm going to task you and ask you to take some photos of some of your favorite stuff and post it because I know it'd be great stuff to see.
Yes,
Coach Josh Parrish says he had the pleasure of coaching with you and coaching you. And Sharon Dickinson, great to see Austin on this Zoom call. Man lives and breathes Northview. Enjoyed being your chaplain and then serving with you at the View, and loves the picture behind you, your backdrop picture. That's for sure. All right.
Brother, very special person.
Very good.
Kept us all influenced.
Well, thank you for being here tonight and talking with Austin. Any kind of great comments that you guys have, please share them, and I'll make sure that Austin sees those. All right, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, you got all kind of good stuff, including a jersey, but I'm sure by the time that game came around, that jersey had a special smell to it that only you and maybe one or two family members may be able to put up with just from wearing it every day. So you go middle school to where?
I go to Beverly Middle School. It's right down the road, and that's where I was zoned and played for the Wildcats. And played against a lot of my future teammates.
And were you still doing water boy or ball boy responsibilities through middle school, even though you're playing for Beverly and you're playing against a bunch of guys who later would become your teammates? You're still there on Friday nights with the team.
Yes, sir. And there's a funny story that goes with it. Another former Cougar, Brandon Brown, who was a quarterback in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was my head coach. And he seen me wearing that jersey, and he would just give me up the road every week and just rag me out. Do you know where you're at? And all the Dothan High kids that I grew up with, going to school with, they would just give me up the road. But during that time frame, we had their number, so I always was the the man on top.
Oh, that's great. Now, what responsibilities were you doing for Northview, or was it the same while you were at Beverly? Were you still being a water boy and helping with equipment and things?
At Beverly, I played offensive line, played center and guard a little bit, and we played on the nose guard a little bit. And then at Northview on Friday night, we'd do anything from running water out or running the balls out.
Did you ever calculate the number of games that you were affiliated with? Did you have a streak going?
Yes, sir. I think it was, I had not missed a game from the beginning of 2004 all the way until Sidney Lanier 2016. It was the season. It was the game that Coach Stewart had to sit out, ironically, because of something else that was going on. And we both missed the same game, and it broke my streak.
Well, I'm going to calculate that because I'm going to go to the website that the Alabama High School Athletic Association runs, and we'll figure out those number of games streak.
It had to be roughly 61 games because we did make the playoffs in 2015, which gave me the extra game. So it's got to be 61 straight games.
Oh, wait, from 2004?
Yes, well, maybe longer than that. I'm not good at math.
Well, if they average 10 a year for 12 years, you're well over 100 games, I suspect.
Yeah, you're right. That is correct. So, yeah, I never missed. I didn't get to ball boy or water boy at every game back then, but my dad would take me to the games. We spent a lot of time on the road following the bus. But
that's awesome.
One thing in particular that I wanted to bring up, and I still to this day can't thank Coach Harris enough. In 2005, my dad asked him, would it be possible if I got to ride the bus and go with the guys to a game? And
fifth grade,
we were playing Stanhope Elmore, and boy, you would have thought I was getting ready to go play the Super Bowl, getting on that bus with all those guys, and I just thought I was large and in charge.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, you were fifth grade, so you'd have been 8, 9. How old were you at that time?
I believe I was 9 years old. Yes, sir.
9. And you probably knew every player on the team, every jersey number, what position they played, and how many other younger guys were doing your same responsibilities on Fridays?
We had at that particular time, it was just me and Coach Harris's son Tanner. But the following season, when Coach White got to Northview, it was me, Gabe, and Chase and Tanner. We were like brothers.
I bet. Did you run around at halftime throwing the ball and all that good stuff?
We had many two-hand touch football games in between halves.
Well, I don't want to get into your high school years just yet, but I want you to kind of jog your memory. What was so fun about being part of the team as such a young kid? I can imagine everything was fun, but what was it that made you keep coming back every week?
It was just the pride and just the heart and the passion that everybody had for the football team. And I grew up, go to my grandparents' house, and I'd look at my dad's yearbook, and I'd go straight to those football pictures, and I'd look at all those guys that were playing at the time, and Coach Parrish, and you could just sense something special. And my dad would take me to a few games in the early 90s, but I was really too young to really soak it in. I remember Coach Johnny Falk. I remember hearing his name quite a bit, and just seeing what he did on the field and being able to be around guys that were doing the same thing and representing such a special place. That's really what sold me.
Now, Austin, when did your dad graduate high school?
My dad graduated class of '81. He was the first sophomore class.
Oh, for Coach Harry Wayne Parrish?
He didn't play football, no sir,
Oh,
but he attended the school.
but he was a Northview student.
Yes, sir, he was.
Okay, well, very good. Well, I want to welcome Coach Harry Wayne Parrish, Charles Bronson, Josh Cobb. Thank you, guys. We're talking with Austin Enfinger, and that's pretty cool. We had the second generation of Enfinger at the school, and you're right. Back then, when your dad was in school, they won a state championship that year, and a lot of school pride. I'm sure that you were able to absorb some, maybe hear some of his stories and see some of maybe the yearbook, and I'm sure the trophy case room was still there when you were in school. But Austin, let me ask you, you're at Beverly Middle. At the time, was Beverly zoned for Dothan or for Northview?
It was actually zoned for Dothan High School.
Right, the state limitations has run. How did you get over to Northview?
My dad moved. He, you know, he wanted to move in general, but I wanted to be at Northview, and he was ready for a change, and he made it happen. And that's one thing I can say. My dad, he went above and beyond. He was a good guy, and took care of me well.
Well, tell us a little bit about playing middle school football at Beverly. Did you enjoy the sport enough to keep playing in high school, or was it just something you did with your friends, or was it a real passion for you?
I've always just enjoyed football, and I wasn't the biggest guy, and I wasn't the most athletic, and I wasn't the fastest, but I had a real passion for it, and I tried to just play wherever I could and do whatever I could to help out and be a part, and that's really where I was at Beverly. I got to see a good substantial amount of playing time, but I mean, I wasn't a star athlete or anything like that. I just loved football and have a deep passion for it. And it was just awesome because we got to set a lot of scoring records. My 8th grade year, we went undefeated, and it was the first undefeated team Beverly had in 10 years. And Marquez White was in the 7th grade, and he wound up going to Northview, as you know, later on down the road as well. I don't know how he got his story wound up going there, but
go watch my discussion with him from a few months back. He tells it.
I'll have to check that one out for sure.
And Austin, I want to welcome, all the respect to you, Squirrel, from Caleb Tillman. Brandon Brown says hardworking young man for his years at Northview. So they both send their love to you.
Yes. Coach Brown, he was a great mentor for me. He still is. I can pick up that phone and he's going to answer, and we'll talk about stuff.
That's what, to me, it's not just the wins and the losses. It rarely is. You could be 0-10 or you could be state champs. You will have some of those memories, but what's more important to me, the everlasting ones, and this is what it sounds like from what I'm hearing from you, it's those friendships. And it's those shared experiences. I bet you have teammates. I bet you have coaches and others who along the way during your 14 years with the program, that if someone mentions a particular event or even a person's name, I bet it takes you right back to that spot and maybe puts a smile on your face, or you start laughing about whatever that is.
Yes, sir. We we got to see a lot of interesting stuff. And it's like you said, I've been a part of, teams at Northview that had winning records, and I've been down there at 0-10. Mm-hmm. And, there was no difference in the passion from the winning team to the 0-10 team. Everybody cared about Northview. Everybody had a special place in their heart about Northview, and they did whatever it could. And of course, we came up short, but at the end of the day, we were brothers, and it was a family, and it was a bonding moment. And not only from the players, but even the student body. We had the best student section, whether we were 0-10 or 6-0 or 10-0, it didn't matter. Everybody that was a part of Northview took pride and was there, and they cared. And it's just an unrealistic feeling that it's it's tough to know that it's not existent anymore, per se in real time. But again, programs like this, it's just awesome to get to reflect.
Well, speaking of reflection, I want this is going to be a tough question for you, and you can take a second to think about it. You had 14 or 15 seasons, school terms, football seasons with Northview. I want to jog your memory a little bit. I want you to share some of the better memories, some of the things that really stand out that was fun for you.
Well, obviously, getting to be the little ball boy that first game was something else. But I think what really set the tone, that was my greatest memory as a player. I was in the ninth grade, and I did the ninth grade football deal. At the end of the season, Coach Harris got to let a couple of young guys dress out and go to the game. And of course, the first game that we got to do that was the Northview Dothan game. So I think that one to me was the most special as a player. But the most special moment, I think, is as a overall was actually on the coaching managing side of things, just watching and being a part of and helping other people and watching them get to the next level, achieve their goals, giving them the best of whatever that it took for them to be successful. I think to me was the most special part. And just I've got to see a lot of great athletes excel and move forward both in high school and go on to college and be successful. And it was great to be a part of their lives. And I hope in some way I made a difference. And that's really all that I strive for.
Well, I am sure there is no doubt that you made an impact on many, many lives. But guys, for those of you who don't know, I want to take you through when Austin was in fourth grade, when he first started coming around the program. That was Coach Chip Harris was our head coach from 04 to 08. Then Wayne White took over in 2009. So would that have been your freshman year?
He came, Coach Harris last season at Northview was my freshman year. Okay. So Coach, my sophomore, he was the head coach my sophomore year.
Wayne White was your coach the seasons or your sophomore, junior, and senior years.
Yes, sir.
But then after that, you worked as a coach or manager for Coach LeBrian Stewart and then Coach Josh Parrish when the school finished its program in 18. So big difference, big variety of coaching styles between the four coaches. Different expectations, I assume, a lot of commonalities, but which of those four coaches would you say ran the tightest, the toughest program? No nonsense, always expected you to do and be straight.
Boy, that's a good one there, because they all ran a very, very tight knit ship. But I will have to say by far it would have to be Coach Parrish. Coach Parrish expected it, and he came in and he laid the law down, and what Coach Parrish said is what happened, and he was in control. And as you can see, we had a couple of really good seasons there, and I just hate that he didn't get to finish out what he started.
Not surprised hearing your opinion about Josh. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. I played for Coach Harry Wayne Parrish's dad, and I'm sure they had very, very similar styles. Now, same question, or same four coaches. I want you to compare which coach, and this is not a criticism, it's just different personalities and how they dealt. And your stage in life may be impacted because of your different roles over that 14, 15 years. Were there any of those coaches that you really felt that you were friends with? And that's a tough one, because a head coach can't really be friends with too many folks affiliated with the program.
I have to say on that one, it's definitely Coach Stewart. Me and Coach Stewart had a chemistry, I guess you would say. He reached out, or we kind of reached out to each other about, I'd already talked to Coach White about, possibly being able to stay on and help out where I could. Of course, Coach Stewart got hired, and he had heard about me, I guess through Coach Griffin maybe, or somebody had talked to him about me. And we talked to each other, and long story short, he gave me my first whistle, and I haven't forgot about that. And
what was that responsibilities? What did he task you with?
at the time, I was his right-hand man. Whatever he needed done at that time, I helped him take care of it. I was over all of the equipment and chewing and whatnot, and making sure practice was set up like it needed to be. And eventually it turned into me getting to help coach with the 9th grade, help coach the line and things like that, and get to work.
Was this the year after you graduated high school?
This was actually the day he got hired is really when I started working for him. So I'm still a senior in high school, and I'm helping coach football. I helped through the spring and all into the summer, and we just kept on rocking and rolling. But back to the friendship thing, Coach Stewart, I can tell you right now, he is that one person that I can pick up the phone right now, and he's going to be real with me. He's like a second father, and we spent many hours in his office after a lot of wins and after a lot of tough losses, and we just talked with each other, and just I try to help motivate him, and he's helped guide me in a lot of good directions in life as well.
Oh, that's awesome. But in the last couple of weeks, he's been honored for the work he did this past year in Abbeville. So do you now have to refer to him as Coach of the Year, LeBron?
Yes, Coach of the Year, Brian Stewart. That's right.
LeBron Stewart. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, at what point in your high school career did it evolve in your mind? Maybe I want to do some of this coaching. I like playing, but I think coaching may be in my future.
It really hit me probably halfway through my senior season. All I could do really from we were at the playoffs really at that point, and my mind was just racing. Okay, you've been doing this since 2004. This is all you know. You really, really love it. What is there that I can do to be able to keep going? Obviously, I knew with my size and all, I was not going to play college football. And it just came down to what can I do? And I just, I prayed about it. And I just one day asked Coach White, I said, Coach White, I'm obviously not going to college to play football. I'm probably going to be over here at Wallace. What can I do to help hang out and just do whatever that I can do to still be a part of this program? And, obviously we had talked a little bit, but it wasn't long after, that season they made the change. And of course, then it was just hopefully getting the opportunity to meet Coach Stewart, which I did. And it was an honor and a blessing. So.
Oh, that's the very best. It sounds like you've always had such a passion for the sport of football, but more specifically for Northview. And I'm sure that the coaches have seen that passion in you and really appreciate it, and getting an opportunity to help them coach. That's got to have been a little strange now, coaching as a senior in high school or a freshman in college, your former teammates and some of your buddies.
It was interesting. Obviously, to be expected, there was a lot of you're my buddy, so we're gonna pick and poke, and am I really gonna take you serious, kind of thing? Am I supposed to take you serious? And it was interesting. It wasn't. I will have to say it didn't get smoothened out probably until the late 14, 15-ish season. That's when everybody was kind of starting to get out.
Graduated. Yeah.
That's right. And,
yeah, because these kids were middle schoolers when you were graduating.
And some of them were brothers to people that I played. And of course you had that too. And it's like, oh, you're my brother's buddy, so I can get by,
Well, looking back on the 15 years or so with the program, which aspect of being part of the program was the most fun or most memorable for you?
To me, it'd have to be the coaching and the managing. And it goes back again to helping other people and watching them have success and all, because that's at the end of the day, that's really what it's about is just, leading people and guiding. And because see, if I just don't look at it through anything that I did as a player, because that would, and to me, I wasn't able to contribute as much as I have been able to, as a coach.
I didn't know you back then. Obviously, we just met, but I don't want you to count yourself short one bit. I know you're a humble man, but every team has teammates that are the glue that keep the teams together. And I suspect you are one of those guys. And there's a fellow who was one of my teammates, Keith Rice, who's now an administrator in Mobile at one of the private high schools. He didn't get to play much, but he was at every huddle. He was as enthusiastic as anybody, and he was the glue. And he was that teammate, much like I suspect you were, that when a player missed a play or didn't do something right or was down about something, I suspect you were right there to give them some encouragement. And I promise you, every good team needs a teammate like that. So don't ever discount what you did on and off the field during your time as a player. And I equally applaud your time as a coach because you set examples and you helped other kids fulfill a dream maybe that they had, and that was to play at the next level. Now,
Yes.
now here's going to be a tough one. I know you still are involved in the sport, and I know you're still on the Friday nights with Dothan High School. And some of those kids, I think, are now going to be seniors who may have been freshmen at Northview back in 18. They'll be seniors this upcoming year. But there's got to be a lot of comparisons that are similar as well as are different, tradition-wise or maybe just a mindset-wise. So I want you to talk about that a little bit. You've worked on the sidelines the last 2 years for Dothan High School, but you have so many years prior to that at Northview. It must have at first felt a little weird going into our buildings, helping out the new high school, but then talk about that a little bit.
I still haven't got used to the fact that it says Dothan High School outside outside those halls.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities in that. Like I was telling you earlier, there was a lot of Northview players that carried over into the new Dothan High School, and we gelled with those guys across town. Now we're all one family now, and we gelled so quickly. And our kids were able from Northview were able to come in and lead by example, as so were some of the guys from Dothan High. And it is amazing to me how we clicked and everything kept rolling. And from a sense of pride, I think it all feels the same in an aspect. I mean, it's not Northview, but we all still are together trying to accomplish that one goal, and that's to win that blue trophy. It's to bring a state championship back to Dothan and represent this city. And there's really not much difference. Obviously, the coaching is different. Some of the philosophies are different, but at the end of the day, we're still Dothan, Alabama, and we're all Northview Cougars at heart, and we're Dothan Tigers at heart.
Now, I heard a rumor, and you need to confirm or you can deny. On Friday nights, I know you're wearing a Dothan High shirt on the outside. Is it true you're wearing a Northview shirt on the inside?
That might have happened once or twice, but I can tell you this, and Coach Grider might fire me, might not ever let me step foot on the football field again. For him, I don't know. But I have a pair of socks that Coach Stewart issued out one year that had the ends on them. I wear those babies every week. It hadn't mattered if it was Northview or Dothan. I have worn them ever since I've had them.
Oh, that's one of the beautiful things about sport is tradition, is superstition, is routine. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a coach, a water boy, the star of the team, it doesn't matter. If you're an athlete or you're affiliated with sports, you're going to find some quirk, something that is unique, that gives you a mental edge. It's just like if you're watching your favorite college team and you're home, I gotta sit in my same spot. I gotta drink from my same, those things. But that's awesome. I had no idea about the socks. That's cool.
Yeah, I may have worn a shirt a time or two. I will say this: there's still a lot of players that were from obviously the past teams that they'll still work out in their Northview garb, so as well as the Dothan guys too. But it's it's our past, it's our history, and there's nothing that can change that at the end of the day.
Let's talk a little bit about that, about the current players, the last couple of years. You've obviously been around all the kids from Northview and then the kids who are now over at Dothan. What kind of interaction? You said at first it didn't take very long for them to bond as one school, one team representing our city. But with all of that, you know, most of these guys probably grew up playing sports against each other or in the same rec leagues or communities. We've talked about that with many of my prior guests. But from your perspective, share with us a little bit. Maybe there's some ribbing. Maybe there's some a lot of gamesmanship. I don't know what you want to call it, but share a little bit about what you've seen and how that's been dealt with at times.
Well, to be honest with you, we never really had a clash of, I'm a Northview guy, or I'm a Dothan guy. But what it goes back to what you were saying. They played against each other, and they were competitive against each other from little league all the way up to, you know, when we merged the schools together. And it was that competition that carried over into the weight room. It carried over into spring practice, and it gave us the competition within ourselves to make us a better unit. And that really, to me, gave the momentum, which gave us such a great season we had last year. And I really think we get past Spanish Fort, we're going a few rounds higher, but obviously it just wasn't our time frame last year.
I know that in 2019, you guys had an experience and a senior laden team, but then those guys graduate in this past year with all the craziness with the pandemic and such a young team. It didn't quite meet up to expectations, but I suspect it's not going to take long to get those guys coached up and matured and looking for big things in the next year or two from them.
Well, that's one thing I can say. Ever since, you know, the start of the season and going forward, we found ways to make things happen. We're a little more knowledge now with the virus and everything, and we're able to accomplish a lot more than what we could have done in the past summer. And we're doing better, and things are getting better, and the guys are hard at work, and we're trying to get the ship righted, so to speak, and move forward. I know.
Well, and guys, for those of you just joining us, I'm talking with Austin Squirrel Enfinger, who was been all the way from a water boy to a coach from 2004 to 2018, including being a player when he was at Northview as a student. And we've got, John Johnson is with us, said you were always helpful on the sidelines. Thank you, John. That's very, very kind of you. Steve Stutz is with us. Coach Harry Wayne Parrish says you're one of the best Cougars, and that he agrees with my comparison with Keith Price. And I would encourage you. Keith has an awesome story that he shared that I didn't know. Keith and I are the same graduating class. He actually proposed to his wife on Northview's football practice field. That's how special the school and the program was to him.
Well, hey, I got one for you then. My son's gender reveal took place right on the 50-yard line. And I meant to send you that picture when you were asking me to send pictures. I actually, when we'd done the reveal and it was a boy, I had a Northview jersey, and me and my wife took a picture holding that jersey. And it was so special because at the time, you know, we didn't know for sure that everything was going to happen the way it did. And I hate that he's not going to get to do that, but maybe hopefully we can carry on this with Dothan High, maybe, and get him involved.
I'm sharing that photo. I'd love to. You can post that. That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
And we've got just a few more minutes, and I appreciate you sharing some of your thoughts and fond memories. But I want to take you to Friday nights at Ritview Stadium during the time you were with Coaches Stewart and Parrish, Josh Parrish. What was it about Friday night that was special to you about those home games?
It was just the band playing, the fans just representing Northview, the guys giving it everything that they had on the field, and me being there to help Coach Stewart or help Coach Parrish with whatever we needed to do. But the most memorable thing to me was from game number 1 with Coach Stewart to game number 10, that final season with Coach Parrish. I got to hand the head coach his headset on the 50-yard line, but at 7 o'clock sharp every Friday night, and like clockwork. And that to me was, all right, it's time to play. It's time to let's get this thing going. And it was just it was, kind of corny, I guess, but
No,
it was electrifying. That was my deal. And, I didn't have to do that, but that's just something I wanted to do. And that was part of my duties. I set up the sideline. I have my own routine and everything. And of course, I issued out the radios, and I just wanted to be the one to hand the head coach's radio. I wanted to be that guy. So,
it's all being part of a team, and
yes,
it's the pride that you took in whatever your job was, whether it was a water boy in middle school or a lineman in high school or doing the managerial job, whatever it was just taking a sense of pride, and it probably is something that just flowed through you all those years. Um, Austin, tell us about some of the more memorable players or plays or games that you recall. I know there's a lot to draw from there.
wow. Obviously, and I know everybody that was from this time frame has been on here has said probably the most memorable moment on the field again is Spencer Pybus interception, running it all the way back and punting that thing to outer space. That was probably the most memorable field moment but to me, and this isn't an upside moment, but one thing that I remember fondly, and this was my 8th grade year. I'm a manager, ball boy, my turn's about to be around the corner, but Northview ship starting to get on the right path, and Coach Harris is having an awesome season. We wind up finishing 6-4, but we play Phoenix City, and the game comes down to almost overtime. We're down 3 points. There's very few seconds on the clock, and we're 4th down. We're inches, and if we get in that end zone, Northview's going to the playoffs for the first time since 2000. But we got knocked out of bounds, 4th down, and we came up short, and it left a feeling that I to this day still can remember of just we were this close. And then in 2015, when we finally got to make the playoffs and break that streak, when we rolled into Hillcrest to play that game, I thought I was getting ready to go set up for the state championship, because this was it was the furthest I had been in my career with Northview, and I was just so excited to finally be a part of a great team that got to do something special for Northview.
Oh, those memories are just ones that'll stay with you, and serve you well, just because they take you back to a certain time period. And I bet with all those jerseys and other mementos that you have in your collection, you could probably look at most of those things. It may take you straight to a game or to a certain time period. Austin, we've got just another couple of minutes, and some of these stories, I love hearing them. When you get out of high school and you go on to college, and then you start your family and your career. Most people, if you don't live in Dothan, or don't remain coaching or affiliated with the program, you hear about it from time to time. You may read about it on the internet, or a family member may have gone to a game. But for you to have continued staying with the program as long as you did, and now with Dothan High, that's still another connection, because you probably got kids coming through Dothan High who are not quite, you're not old enough yet for the next generation to come through, but certainly the much younger siblings or nephews, of some. There's probably a lot of family connections that are coming through that of. Hey, I know your uncle, or I know your dad, and those kind of things.
Yes, sir. I played with one easily, and I coached the others. So, so that's just one small example of what I got to experience in being around families and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and Eric and Joe were two of my teammates back in the day. So I know they're still at least I know Eric is very much connected with the program still and has great passion for it.
Yes, sir. I remember it was like clockwork every, I believe, Tuesday. Mr. Easley, he was bringing some donuts to Coach Stewart. He'd bring Loyalist donuts to Coach Stewart every week. And I'd have to sneak me a donut out every so often.
Let me close with this, Austin. What was it about Northview and the school spirit, the school pride, that you really thought just made the whole experience, being a Northview Cougar, unique to you?
The family aspect, to me, it doesn't matter if you were class of 79 to all the way to class of 18, 19. If you went to Northview, it was special. I went to Northview, you know. Other schools in the area, I don't think have quite the connection that we had at Northview. You know, a lot of schools envied the bond and the pride that was at Northview. You know, it was just a special time and a special place, and we sure miss it. And it's one of those deals where if we could go back in time, we'd try to do what we could to get it back.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I wished in some regard back when I was a child that we had a little bit of that social media availability. You know, everybody's got a phone these days and that can be overwhelming, but to have video of just daily life, or to have video of just the mundane things from back in that time period, everybody, I think, wants a little bit of glimpse of their youth to relive it, even for 5 minutes. But Austin, thank you for taking us through your journey tonight. I've learned so much, and I wish you were one of my teammates back in the day. That's for sure.
Well, that's special to hear that from you. You know, today was the first time ever meeting you, but I've heard a lot of stories from Coach Parrish, and it's just such an honor to sit down with a state champion Cougar and somebody that helped, you know, lead this program, and it's awesome. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Austin. I'm glad to call you a Cougar and a teammate, and I hope one day soon I can get down to Dothan. We'll break some bread together. Maybe we'll get the coaches, Parrish and some others together, and we'll have us a big time.
Yes, sir. That would be fantastic.
Thank you, guys. What a great conversation. What a cool experience Austin has gone through and continues to give back to our community and some of the athletes that he influences from time to time. As we try to do every Wednesday night, conversations with Cougars. I love these conversations. I get to meet really neat folks like Austin and so many others over the years who've been part of our program. So thank you for all the support, the love, the comments, and y'all just keep coming back on Wednesday nights, and we'll keep doing this. Y'all have a good night, and y'all be safe. Take care.
There.